I was not one of the cool kids who hated on Studio Series car Shatter. I enjoyed that figure quite a bit, actually. But I do have to admit Jet Shatter is way better. For now, though, let's talk a little bit about this aircraft. Because even though I'm not someone who puts much importance on alt modes, this does look pretty spectacular. No idea if it's accurate, but I also don't care. It just looks really cool and hides the robot stuff way better than your average jet former. Yeah, the legs are obvious from the bottom, but from the sides they blend in pretty well. Outside of that nonsense, I really like the dark metallic-y plastic they used for most of this, which is dark enough to look like she means business, but still light enough to let the molded detailing through. It's not super greebly or anything, but this is Studio Series, not Siege. What's molded here looks the part, and that goes double for the turbines at the front. I don't know why, but I really love this specific detail. These black and red accents are excellent too. I suppose there could arguably be a little more of those accents, particularly the red used in a few more places, but I don't really think the jet needs them. Those little winglets towards the front? Don't ask me why I like all of this as much as I do, I really couldn't tell you. Also, you can angle the exhausts at the back. I guess because this is meant to be a VTOL jet? Short for vertical takeoff and landing. It's like the only thing I know about these kinds of vehicles. I'm not an expert at anyway. Now I've got a cat on my lap that is purring loudly. I have no idea if the microphone's going to pick it up, but we'll see. Said purring cat is also shedding a bunch, so if suddenly there are cat hairs on these figures, well, that's why. Anyway, Jet Shatter's size in this mode is kind of weird, but like in an interesting way. She is a deluxe, which will be super obvious in robot mode, but because of the way everything stretches out along with the wingspan, she ends up looking a little bit more like a Voyager. Way smaller than the Metagate figure, though, which was probably obvious before I even said anything. And when I wrote the script, I had no idea if I was going to be doing a direct side-by-side while filming, because it's a pretty involved transformation just for size comparison. Clearly, no. But here's a photo of that jet mode next to some other stuff to help give you an idea. And yeah, the Studio Series jet mode definitely looks better, but keep in mind, Metagate's Shatter is a triple changer. Oh, this cat is in a mood. But we'll see how this goes. Now, before we turn Shatter here into, well, Shatter, gotta plug the Patreon and the coffee. Links to both at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Otherwise, you can support the channel by doing the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe. Now, transforming Jet Shatter is very straightforward, simpler than Car Shatter, but very effective. And Astrid, please, are you gonna... I can't scritch you and transform at the same... Okay, honey, please. Well, here's Cat. Okay. Honey, no, don't do that. Okay, so to start, I'm going to separate the tail section from the rest of it. I find it's best... There's so much cat hair. I find it's best to kind of pull this back and then down, because it tabs in a few places up here. Just kind of pull back and down, and it'll pop out. And here... you can see there are these little tabs on these gray pieces here and these tabs up here, and that's where it all tabs in for the jet mode. So untab all that, swing this down. I'm going to split the... oh, okay, she's done with me. I'm going to split the legs apart. And now I'm going to push the jets in so that they're flat. Push in or fold up the tail fins, and then this piece here, show it from this side, this piece here kind of pulls up and slides forward like that, and then the foot swings back, and this piece kind of sits in here to help keep this from moving. And then showing it from this side, this slides up, and then this swings in and kind of clips around here to lock everything together. And it does actually give kind of a convincing, if a bit weird, jet Gerwalk mode. I suppose it'd be better to do something like this? I don't know. But it works. Okay, but that is obviously not the robot mode, so for the rest of the leg transformation, you just rotate the legs around, or rotate the thighs around, whatever. And there we go, legs. Now for the rest of this, going to separate the wings at the center here. And then these also tab into the red pieces, so you want to untab that. And then these peg in up here as well. So you want to kind of swing this out and it'll untab and get this whole assembly free. And same deal on this side. Just kind of untab, swing that out. So now the turbines and all of that are free. And I'm going to split these sections here and bring all of this down just for now to kind of get it out of the way. And while we're doing that, I'm going to also fold this gray panel back. And then all of this will fold back as well. So now what I do is I angle it like this, because the entire upper body has to rotate 180 degrees. It basically does like a Classics Prime. So that rotates around. These pieces that have split will swing around and clip together. Then this comes down and you just rotate to give her arms. And because of all the stuff that's going to happen with the backpack, it's best to pull the head out now. So that just tilts up like that. And now we can swing this back up and out of the way, because what we have to do is accordion all of this down and into the torso. And when we do that, there's also a tab on the back of this front landing gear that tabs into the back. And you can kind of see, get all this stuff out of the way, you can kind of see how it lines up, and that wheel goes into a very specifically keyed spot. So that's how you know you've got it all tabbed in correctly. So that tabs the backpack into place. Now I'm going to take the nose cone, flip it up, and then take this panel and bring it down, and then there's this little tab in here that'll tab into this hole on the tip of the nose cone. And that helps to level out the turbines and stuff. And now I'm going to swing this in, and there's a little tab here that tabs into the inside of the side of the turbine. So basically it was like this, and now it's swinging all the way around and tabbing in here. And then to finish it all off, going to rotate this down, and then rotate this piece back, and then this just rotates all the way around until the wing just kind of stops. And that is one wing done. Other wing is the same deal, just rotate this down, rotate this back, and rotate this the rest of the way forward. And there is Shatter in her robot mode, specifically Jet Shatter. Jet Shatter's transformation is undeniably simpler than what we got with Car Shatter, but I don't think anyone would argue with me if I also said it's better, right? Again, I liked Car Shatter. I was one of the few people who did. But this flows so much more smoothly and pulls a lot off by using way fewer steps than you'd probably expect. As for the robot mode itself, it's great. I mean, just look at it. I feel like you don't need me to tell you this. Sure, the jet engines and wings look a little too big and stick out a bit too far when you look at her in profile, but this is a modern deluxe, come on. Also, the tail fin bits make for really nice heel support, so she's not going to topple backwards anytime soon. From the front, though, this feels about as perfect as a deluxe could be when it comes to conveying Shatter's on-screen robot mode. After she scanned the jet, I mean. There's a lot of nice color breakup between the red, silver, gray, and black that really makes a lot of her most identifiable design elements stand out at a glance. Like those twin toes, piston-looking shins, knee vents, and so on. But it also works for all the other miscellaneous and very intricate molded details too. I love that they were able to paint the mechanical bits in the forearms to sort of match the upper arms, so the red looks more like gauntlets or something. And of course, the chest is utterly fantastic, please don't take that out of context, with the iconic folded front end of the car mode and the angled lights around the collar. Some really nice separation too. The head is also modern Studio Series deluxe levels of perfect. The shape and detailing is all there, right down to the asymmetrical sides of the helmet and the radio antenna, maybe? I don't really know what that bit is, but it's definitely Shatter. Then there's the face. She just looks so menacing and intimidating here. This is the face of someone who is definitely going to murder you without any hesitation. Either because you're in her way or because she's bored. Really, the only nitpick I have is that I think it would have been cool if they gave her that Grinchian smirk she had at that one point in the movie. Don't get me wrong, this is great on its own, I just think it would have been even better if they did that. Articulation is good for modern Studio Series Deluxe, too. I've been pulling that phrase out a lot in this script, haven't I? It's a little hampered by the jet remnants on the backpack maybe, and she doesn't have a waist swivel or ankle tilts, but all that is understandable given the price point and transformation engineering. So we get a ball joint at the neck that goes down into the torso, which lets her look around and up a lot. I'm not going to go all the way, but you don't get any tilt or any real downward movement. Ball jointed shoulders have all the expected range. They can go out to 90. They can theoretically go 360, but the turbine backpack does get in the way of that. It's got biceps, 90-degree elbows, no wrists, because it's all one piece, but like I noted before, it is cool that they painted the details there to separate out the colors. And like I said before, no waist, but the hips can kick forward and back quite a lot, like well past 90. They also go out way more than I was expecting, which is cool. And then thigh swivels, and the knees bend ever so slightly past 90, and that's it. And I guess you could use the transformation joint at the feet for some forward tilt, but other than that, the ankles they're not moving. She's not a contortionist, but what's here is good. This is a good figure. Insert overused deluxe excuse here, so she is a little on the short side. Not Bumblebee small, but noticeably not as tall as an average deluxe. And now the cat's back. Maybe a bit wider on the Z-axis, though, thanks to that backpack. I've never had the VW Bug version of Studio Series B, so I have no idea how she stacks up next to him. I think she's taller. She looks taller in some of the photos I've looked up. But she is definitely a lot shorter than the Metagate figure, which I feel like we all knew going into this, but here's a direct side-by-side so you can see just how much smaller the Studio Series is. Smaller, but also not a triple changer, and roughly 1/6 of the price. Which is all to say she's a little short for a modern deluxe, but she looks good and is cool, so it's fine with me. The one and only thing I really don't like about Studio Series Jet Shatter is how she's so annoying to get a hold of these days. Granted, yes, the figure came out almost 4 years ago as of recording, and hasn't been on shelves for maybe like 3, but the aftermarket on her is obnoxious. I paid over $40 for this thing, and that's only because it was used and didn't come with either of the blaster accessories. Hence why I haven't mentioned them until now. Complete, it would have been even worse. And new in box is just... no thank you. What sucks is that this is a great figure and definitely worth tracking down if you like Studio Series, the Bumblebee movie, or Shatter, but it's also not a figure that's really worth $40+. Aside from that, though, she's fantastic. Be sure to love and appreciate this figure if you currently own her, or prepare for a bit of a wallet bashing if you don't and want to fix that. I don't know, the aftermarket just sucks sometimes. But that's enough of what I think. What do you all think of Jet Shatter? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll be back to say words at you about toys in the next video.